Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Katharine. And I have to ask you how to pronounce your name. I would say Giovanni,
Mhm.
like
Correct.
the Italian way. It's like
Mhm.
singing. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast. And how are you doing today?
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Wow, and I would love to introduce you to the audience. Of course, you are a three-time award-winning best-selling author of 12 books, a dynamic speaker, trainer, and advisor. Your latest book, The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness, Unlocking Your Power, delves into the transformative power of forgiveness. You are also a pioneer in the independent concierge industry. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast, Katharine
Thank
Giovanni.
you. Thank you so much.
It's great to have you here. Thank you for your yes. And my first question to you is, what motivated you to write The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness, and how has forgiveness impacted your personal and professional life?
Before I answer that question, everybody watching this and listening, including you, my friend, when you see the word forgiveness on a 10 scale, with 10 being unforgivable dumpster fire and 1 being real easy person to forgive, everybody's thinking about their number 10 because they're the ones that hurt you the most. And that's why people don't want to forgive, because they got hurt. And if I forgive, that kind of means I'm giving you a pass. It does not. So in my world, I want you to start with the easy ones. That being said, my forgiveness journey probably started when I was a kid. I was one of those teenagers, tried to commit suicide, dysfunctional family, the whole thing. We all know those kids. And when my mother died, it was kind of the flashpoint for me. So I quit drinking. I've been sober 34 years. And I kind of decided that if I didn't change my life, I'd probably die too. So I changed my life. And when you quit drinking, you have to go through the steps and you have to make amends. And I was born shy. I am now an extroverted introvert. So I've learned to turn it on and off when I want to. But back then, reaching out to people and saying I was sorry, no, don't want to. So I discovered, it took me another 15, 20 years. And my business partners and I, some friends, we kind of stumbled across this brand new way of forgiving. And everybody teaches you have to forgive. Nobody teaches us how. And what if you don't want to? Now, I really don't want to forgive. I'm teaching the how.
This was an amazing answer. I have so many thoughts in my mind now. The path to forgiveness, it is so important. And I have those numbers because you said
Yeah.
between 1 and 10, and now I have those numbers
Now
in my
everybody's
mind.
thinking of their 10 person. Yeah. And you don't have to forgive your number 10 unforgivable person. I'm the only one that'll ever tell you that, because it may not even be appropriate for you to forgive that person. So why am I saying that? It's because there's so many other people before that person that you can forgive before you even get to that dumpster fire. There's people, places, and things. I did say places and things. Stay with me. There's so many other things you can forgive. And the special sauce to my entire method, and I have worksheets in the method, and I'll go through the method if you like me to. But Einstein, and I have a whole chapter on science for those who are sitting there thinking I'm out of my mind. I have science to back myself up. But, Einstein correctly proved energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just transforms. So when you get mad, what do you think? It leaves your mouth in the heat of the moment, and the energy dissipates in the universe. It does not, sadly. It hangs around your energy field, and it won't move until you clear it. And so in my method, you forgive the person, the energy around the person, yourself, and the energy around yourself, and the energy around the entire situation. And that's really the basis of my entire method. It's, so many people have looked at me and said, well, Katharine, I have forgiven them. Okay, they're saying it through clenched teeth. May have to give it another go. Thank you very much. But the reason you're kind of You see the memory, you drive by your old high school, you get mad again, it's because you didn't forgive the energy. It's still hanging in your energy field.
Wow. I love that you pointed that out. I never
Yep.
thought of it that way. And when
No.
you said, I'm a little bit scared now about, and you are so right when you say you drive past things or buildings, and
Yep.
there's a bad energy still there. It's hanging around, or it's inside you, or in your aura, whatever. I don't know.
Exactly. See, the thing about energy is Einstein also correctly proved that everything, including this coffee cup, everything has energy around it, including inanimate objects. So when you're driving to work and maybe you were bullied or maybe something happened in your school, you had a bad teacher, something, and you stop at the red light and you turn your head to the left and you see the school, well, your brain immediately goes back to whatever memory you're thinking about. So by the time you get to work, you're probably in a bad mood because of the memory. So anybody who says you have to forgive and forget is out of their mind, because I don't know anybody on the planet except maybe one lonely unicorn person that I have yet to meet who can forget. What I'm teaching is neutrality. I'm teaching you a method that's going to take the emotional component out of that memory. So when you drive by that school, it's not going to trigger you anymore. You're not going to care. You're just going to look at it as a building. Okay, Catherine, well, I don't want to forgive the bullies or the teacher. Okay, that's fine. So, maybe the person you need to forgive, maybe it's not appropriate. Maybe you just don't want to. It's all good. So forgive the things around the person, the memory. Forgive the building, the energy around the building. Forgive the playground. Forgive the kids that stood around, the energy around those kids. Forgive the building, the bed, the table, the chair. Forgive all of these things. And that's going to take the emotions out of it, so you can probably move forward. That's really how to start your number 10s. You pick out other parts of the memory. And let me be clear. Just because I forgive you doesn't mean I want a relationship with you. I probably don't. Just because I forgive you, I'm not giving you a pass. You're still wrong and it's still horrible. What I'm doing is I want you out of my head. That's my definition. I want you out of my head. I don't want to think about you anymore. I don't want to remember anymore. I want you out of my head. That for me is forgiveness. You don't have to reach out to anybody. You can do this in the privacy of your own home. Forgiveness is selfish. You do it for you. You don't do it for them. It's never for them. And if the person you're forgiving, maybe your parents have passed away and they're your number 10s, well, you can forgive dead people too, because forgiveness is selfish. So where the person is or is not doesn't matter, does it?
Oh, I understand. And this is kind of relieving or something when we
Yep.
know we don't have to talk to that person.
Nope.
We don't have to say sorry, or the opposite. What is the opposite when we forgive? Yeah, we forgive, and we don't have to let them know, right? This is the
Yeah, you're
point.
not apologizing to them and you're not giving them a pass. And you probably don't want a conversation, because the conversation is going to be emotional and then you're going to end up yelling at each other again. Or maybe
Yeah.
it was something really unforgivable and it's not even appropriate to reach out to these people. In my world, you don't have to reach out to anybody unless you want to. If you want to, that's great. If you want to burn some incense or hold a crystal while you're saying my mantra, do it if that makes you happy. Personally, I do not, but you can if you want to. It's gonna, at the end of the day, it's forgiving the people in your life is going to allow you to become the person you have always been. Now, for anybody listening, I'm doing a really quick demonstration. I'm about to hold a coffee cup that's very opaque in front of my face. And if you want to see what I'm doing, hop over to YouTube. So, let's say this coffee cup represents bitterness, anger, regret, all the nasties, right? So look at my body language. I can hold this cup off to the side. You and I can have a nice conversation. We can go out to dinner. I can go out to work. I can manage my anger really easily, right? No problem. Easy peasy. The longer I hold on to it, the more my arm's going to start to hurt. So now look at my body language. It's starting to creep into my head because it's starting to hurt. So it's filtering into my conversations now, and it's filtering into my memory. The memories are starting to come back. Now look at my body language. Both my arms are engaged. The cup is in front of my face. I can't even see you anymore. All my conversations are about what happened. I'm living it, I'm breathing it, and I'm missing opportunities. My dream job might have just come by. I've missed it because I'm too focused on the anger. So when you practice forgiveness, you are allowing yourself to pay attention to the world around you, new job opportunities, a new relationship, more money, maybe a very great way that you can lose weight. That's what forgiveness does. It allows you to be the person you were always meant to be.
Oh, I love that, what you said. And I had a word in mind as well. It is it is like attachment. And the second word is filter, because you
Yep.
see through the filter of there's the unforgiveness, right? And then
Yep.
you attach to your whatever this is. You mentioned those emotions when you see the person, or yeah, so we have to let go. And this is also what forgiveness is, giving, right? When you
Right.
dissect the word, there
Yeah,
was
you dissect it, it's forgiving, and you're giving yourself permission to live a life of joy. You're not forgiving for the person you're mad at. It's never for them. They're still wrong. They still hurt you. You're forgiving for you. You want them out of your head so you can live in joy and you can conduct your life. And when you forgive, and I want you to start with the easy ones, the ones, the twos, and the threes, the person who cut you off in aisle 5 of the grocery store, shopping cart road rage, you can forgive that person. You can forgive the person who stole your parking spot. You can forgive the person who stole your sandwich at work. I hope you can forgive that person. They were hungry. Let them have the sandwich. You can forgive these easy people. And as you forgive, everything around your aura is going to lighten up, and people are going to look at you and say, did you lose some weight? You look different today. You look so good. Did you get a new haircut? Is that a new outfit? Well, you can either tell them what you're doing or not and just smile and nod. It's up to you. But it's because you've started to forgive people, and people are going to start to notice.
I love what you said. I have so many thoughts now about, the difference between forgiving and forgetting. You talked about that earlier, and I had a definition. I heard a definition once, and it is
Right.
like wisdom is to memorize without emotion. So this is what you describe. Something like, yeah, memorizing is memorizing is
Yeah.
the opposite of forgetting, right? And when I mix it with emotions, then there comes the thought of revenge, or the how can you explain this, maybe?
It becomes like anybody who's had flies and they're as old as I am. I'm 100 years older than you are, my friend. But remember the sticky tape that you put out for flies that kind of catch flies? It's like duct tape and they stick to the tape. Well,
Yes.
that's what anger is. It kind of acts like sticky paper and it sticks to you until you physically remove it. And it's affecting you whether you realize it or not. And even if you never get to your 9 and 10 people and you only do the lower numbers, it's still going to change your life. Now, a few things. People might leave your life. They might, because you're forgiving people, you're changing. And because you're changing, the people who love to live in negativity and bitterness are going to see this seemingly, oh, you're starting to get happy. I don't like that. So they'll either leave or they'll try and sabotage it. It is what it is. Let them go. It's going to happen. And there are also going to be people who are going to be attracted to you, say, wow, I want what she has. And they're going to be attracted. So for everybody that leaves your life, and if you're living with a 9 or 10 person, may I suggest that you let them go? I mean, it's probably, if you're living with a narcissist, yeah, let them go. Say
Yeah.
bye-bye,
Yeah.
let them go. But your life is going to be changing. You're going to turn into a different person. Now, that's scary, because I know many people who have looked at me dead in the eye and said, anger is my gas. It's my fuel. It fuels me. I wake up in the morning. It's why I get out of bed. I'm a survivor. Look at what I survived. This is my story. And this is what fuels me. My anger is the reason I'm so successful. Okay. I'm a survivor too. But it's very scary to lose your story, because if you lose that story, who are you?
Yeah.
You don't know. But may I submit to you that anger will get you so far. I agree. You've gotten very far. You probably have some money in the bank. You've got a good job. I get it. But love and forgiveness will get you even farther than you are right now. And it'll get you there faster. Anger is like taking the local train. It'll get you there, but it's going to take a really long time. The express train, that's where love and forgiveness lives. And personally, I'd rather take the express.
Wow, I love that analogy. I never heard this before, of course, but it makes sense. And
Yeah.
I love your energy and how you explain it, because it's true for many, many people. It's the anger that fuels them. And
Yeah.
it's scary as well when you think about, oh, they get out of bed and they are angry already, and that is their day-to-day life, right? And
It's
they
the
are
thing.
waiting for the next person to be unforgivable, givable or something. I don't know if the word exists, you
My
know.
father was like that. He was only happy when he was having a fight with somebody. And there are people like that out there. I mean, my dad was like that. But, you know, and he passed away years ago, but he would have gotten so much farther if he had just flipped the switch. And then he would have gotten a lot farther. But the way I get to forgiveness, I'm not a very religious person, but there is one Bible verse that gets me there. Jesus was nailed up on the cross, and most think of the pain he was in. I mean, I always think of that. But he looked to the people next to him and said, "Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do." So what he means by that is, if I'm talking to somebody in the 5th grade and they don't know trigonometry, I can't get angry at that because they haven't been taught it yet. So my parents did the best they could with the tools they could. Was it good enough? Of course not. But they did the best they could. I can forgive that. And with some Simone Biles level mental gymnastics, I can probably flip the 10 down to a 7, down to a 6. You're never going to get a number 10 person to a 1 in one sitting. It's going to take some passes, because you're going to forgive them and some more memories are going to come up. So you pick out more of the memories, forgive it. Then it's a process. This is a marathon, definitely not a sprint. And it's something that you have to take your time with.
Yeah, and you have to make a decision, and yeah, to let go of those stories or what blocks you when you
Yeah.
don't forgive, right? And it's like layers of an onion. You said it's not done within one session. And
Nope.
I love also what you said about Jesus. He describes ignorance of people, and ignorance means not knowing, right? So I translated it a few years ago with not wanting to know, but it's false. It's not knowing. They don't know. So you can
I don't
teach
know.
them. And there's also a verse in the Bible that says, all you have to gain understanding or something. So it's the opposite. You know, we gain understanding about what is forgiveness, how does it benefit us, and when you know that it's not no longer serving you, you can easily let go. And I
Yeah.
let go. Another question.
Jesus also said 2 other things. He said, how often should I forgive? And I think he said, you could correct me if I'm wrong, because my memory is shoddy, but I think he said 70 times 7, which means he didn't do it a lot.
Yeah.
He also said, yea, through I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I fear no evil. Okay. He said, he didn't say park your car there. He didn't say go have lunch in that darn valley. He didn't say build a house and make friends in that valley. He said to walk through the darn thing. And forgiveness and losing your anger is the gasoline that's going to get you through that to the other side.
It's a process.
It
Thank
is
you
a
so much.
process.
I have another question. As one of the original founders of the independent concierge industry, what were the biggest challenges you faced, and how has the industry evolved since its inception?
Well, since I was one of the original founders way back in the 1990s that dinosaurs were roaming, we had to dodge a few dinosaurs. But I think nobody knew what it was. They couldn't spell it. They couldn't pronounce it. They didn't know what it was. So I think the biggest challenge was educating people on what exactly a concierge can do. And now we have Uber Eats, don't we? And we have whatever the other one is. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But now everybody's kind of used to those types of things. And concierge, we have concierge doctors, but I think in the beginning it was an educational thing because nobody knew what it was. But it was very, very exciting being at the beginning of an industry that's now exploded across the world.
Wow, I love that. Thank you so much for explaining. I would have not known. I know what a concierge is because it's a French word. I studied French before the English language, so I have to I have to know this. And it's amazing that you mentioned Uber Eats as well. So now I can make the connection, between
They're your new personal assistant. It's they'll do anything in the yellow. No, I can't say yellow pages anymore. Now I'm showing my age. They'll do anything in Google as long as it's legal, moral, and ethical. A concierge will do it. So you give them your to-do list, no matter what that is, and they'll just get it done. Now you could give it to TaskRabbit, but the difference between a concierge and TaskRabbit is a concierge will vet their employees, so you're not getting a stranger. They'll call their references. You're getting I am purposely not squashing TaskRabbit. It's a really good company and I like it very much. But the concierge, it's a different type of fish. It's apples and oranges, really. So it's the independent concierge will do anything. And that's really the difference between them. The hotel concierge has been around for years. And yes, it did start in France, but in Spanish, the word concierge means janitor. So a lot of concierge call themselves lifestyle managers because they don't want to be called janitors.
Yes, I understand. There's a difference. I have to study more. Thank you so much
Semantics.
for sharing. I love to learn through podcast interviews. This is my new way of learning. And I meet so many beautiful people like you as well. I have another question for you. With 12 books to your name, how do you maintain the creativity and focus to consistently deliver impactful content across various topics?
I love to write. It's my happy place. And I go through all these crazy things. I tried to commit suicide in the 8th grade, dysfunctional family, sober, had breast cancer, money problems. And I kind of look at myself as God's guinea pig. And as I go through this stuff, I usually write about it because I feel that if it helps just one person avoid, if one person doesn't commit suicide because of my story, or one person can get through breast cancer because they read that book of mine, then it's just the reason I get up in the morning. And I love to write. It's what got me through college. I mean, if the test didn't have an essay question, I was upset because I always pulled off the essay. That's how I got through it.
I love that. Yeah, you mentioned it in the beginning. You are what is it? Introvert, not anymore, but
I'm an extrovert. I'm an extroverted introvert, meaning I'm still shy deep down. If I go to a networking function, my knee-jerk reaction is to go over to the food and the coffee and kind of hang around there and hope somebody talks to me. But now that I'm older now, so now that I'm in my 60s, now I can turn on the extrovert when I want to. But after that gig, I usually have to go back to my hotel room or go home and do my introverted thing, and peopling is done for the day.
I can relate to that. This was me before I started my podcast.
Yeah.
You could say, yes. Okay, I find myself in that. Thank you so much. And my next question is about how can we support you? What is your next project? How can we find you when people reach out to you? Please connect.
This forgiveness book is the first of 3, so there are going to be 2 more behind it. And if you want to read this book, I understand a lot of people don't like to read, so I do have an audio book, the ebook and the paperback available on Amazon. And if you want to work with me privately or see what else I have, just go to my website, which is katharinegiovanni.com. And Katharine is spelled very strangely, thanks to my mom. Thanks, Mom. And it's KATHARINE Giovanni.com.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Please reach out to Katharine. She's amazing. She has information not many people have, and she's willing to share it with you. It helps. I'm inspired now, and now is time for your message, your last thoughts, so to say, but I don't like it, last thoughts, because it is first thoughts for further conversations, of course, to the audience, please.
My final thoughts are are, you got this. You can do this. And for the women out there, this is usually a women thing. I've not met many men who have this problem, but to the women who are listening, you are worthy to live a life of joy. And we do believe you. You got this.
Absolutely. I agree. Thank you for this interview.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And see you in the next episode.